please join me in welcoming the Ambassador of the United States to Israel, the Honorable Mr. David Friedman.
Wow, thank you so much. I can't see that many of you from this vantage point with the light in my eyes, but I feel the warmth and the appreciation and the love from each and every one of you, and I'm deeply grateful. Thank you so much, Rabbi Kotlarsky. I'm so honored to be here now for the 8th time that I have attended this quiet, intimate gathering that we refer to as the Kinus HaShluchim. It is, of course, my first time as an employee of the United States government. Kol hakavod to each and every one of you for strengthening the Jewish people. As we all are painfully aware, there were 18 million Jews in the world in 1941. By 1945, that number had sunk to only 12 million by the murderous hands of the Nazis, Yamach Shemam. Today, while the world has more than doubled in size, the Jewish people have still not returned to that level of 1941. But size, of course, is not everything. In terms of commitment to Jewish tradition, and observance of mitzvot and Torah study, and in Jewish culture and philanthropy, we are in the midst of a major resurgence. There are many good and important reasons for this renaissance. There are many who should be congratulated and applauded for their work in rebuilding the Jewish people. But let me tell you something, and I hope it doesn't go to your heads. The most important factor behind the rebirth of traditional Jewish life is you, the worldwide network of Chabad Shluchim. Following the mandate of the Rebbe Milubavitch, you carry the light of Torah to some of the darkest and most remote places on earth. You bring spirituality to those thirsting for meaning, for something greater than themselves. You shelter and feed those desperately in need of friendship and connection to others. You welcome all those seeking a closer bond with God, Judaism, and our 3,500-year history. And you do it all with a beautiful sense of optimism, inclusion, and yes, style. Among the millions of Jews helped by Chabad, I include myself as a very grateful beneficiary, both physically and spiritually. The physical benefits of my relationship with Chabad arrived in a curious and unpredictable manner. About 22 years ago, a Chabad storefront opened in the Five Towns. Within a half-mile radius of this new Chabad house, there must have been 15 other Orthodox synagogues. I must tell you, I thought the Chabad house had as much chance for success as a store selling ice cubes to Eskimos. No one could have imagined how important an institution it would ultimately become. Now, at this time, when the Chabad house is opening, I'm going through my own ordeal. I'm suffering with pain, the likes of which I never before experienced, a herniated disc just below my neck. I tried every therapy and medication on the market, but nothing seemed to work. My wife Tammy, ever resourceful, took the advice of her mother, Zichrono Libracha, and she went to the Chabad storefront and she asked if somebody could come and check the mezuzot. 30 minutes later, I met for the first time Rav Zalman Wallowik. In addition to checking the mezuzot, Rabbi Wallowik brought an extra pair of tefillin, which he suggested that I wear while he checked my tefillin as well, and I used that borrowed tefillin that day. The next morning, I'm sure you can guess the story, the next morning I woke up 100% pain-free for the first time in 2 months. Later that day, Rabbi Wallowik stopped by to inform me that the ink on the 4 parshiot of the Shel Rosh tefillin had bled across all 4 parchments. My tefillin was no longer even legible, let alone kosher. And Baruch Hashem, I have not had that pain recur ever since. But as wonderful as it is to be without pain, life requires so much more. It requires purpose, meaning, charity, love, wisdom, kindness, so much more. And so from that point forward, I decided to study with Rabbi Wallowik every week. We chose to study the Nevi'im, beginning with the book of Joshua, Sefer Yoshua. And let me just say on a side note, to all you shluchim out there is no greater gift that you can give to the members of your community than the study of Torah. It is enormously important and powerful. Now, those of you who followed my nomination process to be ambassador to Israel, and in particular, my appearance before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, you may recall, not all the senators were in favor of my nomination. Some accused me of not having any prior international diplomatic experience. They were right. Others pointed out that I had never before worked for the United States government. They were also right. So many doubted that my life experience was sufficient to enter this highly challenging position. But I, for one, never had a doubt. To my thinking, I had been preparing for this job my entire life. My father of blessed memory, a practicing rabbi for more than 50 years, gave me the skills and the courage to lead. He was an enormous admirer of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, whose leadership, of course, has been unparalleled in modern times. My mother of blessed memory taught me to value the dignity and holiness of every human life, and my teachers, too many to mention, gave me a sense of perspective about the greatness of America, the miracle of Israel, and the divine bond between them. I will mention one teacher. Again, you guessed it, Rav Zalman Wallowik. When we started to learn Sefer Yehoshua, I had no reason to think that my studies would have any practical application. But I learned more about leadership from the books of Yehoshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, and Melachim than from any other sources at any other time. I came to understand the strength and the loyalty of Joshua, the many mistakes of the Jewish people during the weakened leadership of the Shoftim, the holiness and the purity of Samuel, the tragic insecurity of King Saul, the warrior poetry of David HaMelech, and the wisdom of Solomon. You put that all together, you study it, you think about it, and you try to understand the complementary roles of God and man in this world, and you are more than equipped for public service. Of course, sometimes you just need to be alone with your thoughts and your prayers. And when those moments came, whether the night before my Senate hearing or the day before I was to appear at the White House to advocate for the United States recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, that worked out pretty well, by the way. Or on the eve of any other important event in my life or my career, Rabbi Wallowik would drive me to the Ohel, the kever, the gravesite of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. It is an oasis of spirituality, an opportunity to contemplate what you really need rather than what you think you want. To ask the Rebbe Milubavitch to be an advocate for those needs. I have never left the Ohel feeling anything but optimism, renewal, and joy. And for those who have not had the privilege to visit, whether you're in this room, I suspect it's a small number in this room, but people who may be watching or seeing this one day, I strongly, strongly recommend it. A few months ago, I was entering the Ohel, and Rabbi Wallowik suggested that I pray that my daughter Talia and her boyfriend Sam build a Bayit Ne'aman b'Yisrael. Talia was an alumna of Chabad at NYU under the leadership of Rabbi Korn. Sam, an alumnus of the Chabad of Dayton, Ohio, led by Rabbi Mengel, and a student of the Mayanot Yeshiva, led by Rabbis Shem Tov and Gestetner. And they met while attending Chabad of the Coast in Tel Aviv, the match being credited to Rabbi Eli and Rebbetzin Sarah Nadich. But I had no idea that the relationship was on the verge of engagement. As I stood in prayer before the Rebbe's kever, my phone didn't stop vibrating. I did not take it out until we had departed the Ohel and we were back in the car. At that point, I noticed that Sam, Talia's boyfriend, had been trying to reach me. He was calling, as it turned out, to arrange a meeting to ask for permission to marry Talia. And the wedding, Baruch Hashem, took place about 2 months ago in the Ir HaAtikah, Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. And then there was the time, this past March, when Secretary Pompeo was with me in Jerusalem. It was Erev Shushan Purim, and we were working late with Prime Minister Netanyahu with regard to President Trump's imminent announcement to recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. When we concluded, I had exactly 25 minutes to hear the Megillah before rushing to the airport to catch a flight to Washington. To the rescue comes Rav Shlomi Peles and his son to make a house call for Mikra Megillah. I must tell you, whenever I need to bake matzah for Pesach, or to buy an etrog for Sukkot, or just to collect some fresh honey for Rosh Hashanah, and of course to produce entertaining videos of each adventure, Shlomi and his colleagues at Kfar Chabad are always there. Or, when I was sitting Shiva this past summer and I needed a minyan in my house, Rabbi Smaja from the Chai Center in Herzliya Petuach was of invaluable help. Or when we needed to kasher, my residence in Herzliya, or the new residence in Jerusalem, Rabbi Wallowik and the team from Kfar Chabad came, blowtorches in hand, to make these homes, for the first time in American history, kosher in all respects. We are all partners. We are all partners. There's no better word. We are partners in rebuilding the Jewish nation. We are partners in the effort to make America and any nation in which we may reside a more just, a more humane, a more moral place. We are partners in connecting the United States and other diaspora communities to Israel, and we are partners in bringing light and truth to places that are dark and without hope. That partnership bears fruit each and every day. It is the reason why, like the former British Empire, the sun never sets on the Chabad community. And it is the reason why, on May 14th, 2018, the 70th anniversary of the State of Israel, a Chabad Shaliach named Rabbi Zalman Wallowik delivered the opening prayer at the inauguration and dedication of the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. This is what comes from our partnership. As a Kohen, let me leave you with the words, no better words, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Thank you. Thank every one of you. May God bless each and every one of you. May God bless Israel. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you.